episode of More Than Life with First Lady Mary Jackson. Today we're back in MJ's kitchen, and I am so grateful to have you part of my viewing audience. And I encourage you, if you have any teenagers in the house or just anybody who's interested in learning how to cook, then I want you to get them. I'm going to give you a moment to get everyone to come around and just sit back, relax, and take notes. And then I want you to commit to trying some of the things that I'm sharing with you on today. Now, about a week before, I shared with you my routine in the gym. And mind you, there was only one day of my routine because there are other parts of the body that I work on as well. But I want to show you that it's not just in working out, it's not just in walking, but it is imperative that you eat healthy as well. So I'm going to share with you how to prepare a quick, healthy meal. And again, I thank you for participating. Thank you for viewing it. I thank you for just tuning in. Okay, now let's get started. Today's menu consists of baked chicken, salmon, baked salmon, rice, and broccoli. And as far as the beverage is concerned, I'm going to let it be at the choice of my guests. But remember, I said baked, not fried. So we're having, once again, baked chicken. We're having baked salmon. I'm going to show you how I season all of it in a healthy way. We're having rice, and we're having broccoli, steamed broccoli, or boiled broccoli, I'll say that. So, all right, now let's get cooking. We want to get this done in a short time frame because you will see that it works, and you can do it during the week, any day of the week. Now, what I'm getting ready to do is prepare the chicken. I indicated to you that we were having baked chicken. And what I'm going to do right now is season the chicken. But before I season the chicken, what I need to do is show you that when I get that chicken, and I mentioned it to you in one of the older episodes, I told you about burning those little hairs off the chicken. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about. So if you're not doing that, you eat some hairy chicken. And you can see the hairs. Let me pull them out. Yeah, you can see them. And I hope you can see them good, but what I do, I take this and I burn them. So I got two pieces that I'm showing you that I burn the hair. The others I've already done it in preparation for the broadcast or the episode. So pull the hairs out. Use a paper towel to pull them out. You can see them. Go up one side, down on the other side, and sometimes you may have to go across the back. But that is required before you start frying or baking the chicken. So now I'm going to rinse it off again because I handle it. I'm going to rinse it and then I'll begin seasoning my chicken. So let me go to the sink and rinse it off. Now I'm back with clean chicken, and what I'm going to do is put the seasoning on it that I use, and I basically use this seasoning for every meat that I cook, poultry and as well as fish, seafood. So I'm going to sprinkle some onion powder on there, a garlic powder, that's what I have in my hand. And so we're going to sprinkle that on. Put it on one side. I do one side first to make sure I cover, get all the seasoning in. Then I put some onion powder on it. Next, I put black pepper. And last but not least, I put white salt. Light salt. You don't need to be using that heavy salt. This salt right here is 50% less sodium, and this gives you the taste of salt, and it's good. So I sprinkle some of that on there, and you can do it heavy-handed because it won't have it too salty. Now once I go through that process, then I turn it over, each piece over. As I said, I'm trying to make sure that I season both sides, so the best way for me to do it, put the same type of seasoning on both sides. I just flip it over, do it all at one time, and I'll start with the salt, then I'll put black pepper on it. Just grab it, there's no set order. I was just showing you what I use. Onion powder, garlic powder, and now I'm ready to put it in the oven. So I'll put it in my dish. Thank you. I don't put any oil in that dish. I don't put any water in here. I just put my chicken in here. I bake this chicken on 375. You can bake chicken as well as fish on 375. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven. And this will be in the oven for at least about a good, I say 45 minutes if it takes that long. Because I got my oven turned up to 375. And if you recall from one of the episodes that I baked before, I told you that I used the hottest oven I got in my kitchen. So let me go and put it in right now. I set my cook time on 45 minutes. Then I'll come and check it. So that is my chicken. Now I'm going to season my next item on my menu, which is the salmon. So let me get my salmon. Let me take that out of the refrigerator and get my dish and get started with that. Now I'm getting ready to prepare my salmon. And as you can see, I picked up some Atlantic salmon from Sprout. And when I get it, since my family doesn't particularly care for skin on the salmon, then I don't get skin on the salmon. I ask them to skin it, and they'll do just that. So you can see I got some pretty big pieces here. So I don't have to cook all of it because I know they're not going to eat it. Or Wiley doesn't eat seafood, and Paul loves it. The bishop will eat it. They like salmon because it doesn't, not salmon, I'm sorry, Atlantic salmon, because it doesn't have as many bones in there. Very few. So I think 3 pieces of it will be plenty. So let me rinse this off because they handle it at Sprout. So let me rinse it. Make sure there's no chrono on it, coronavirus. Back at seasoning. I'm going to put the seasoning on it. I'll put this back in the refrigerator. I want this sitting out too long. I was told by one of my angels that the rest of the salmon is going to be traveling, that I don't cook. So praise God for that. So now I'm getting ready to season my salmon. And I season it basically the same way that I do my chicken. I basically season all of my meat this way. So I'm putting, once again, onion powder on it. I sprinkle some garlic powder. Some pepper, black pepper. And you know what, you can put lemon pepper on it. But I'm using just black pepper. Lemon pepper will give it a good taste too. And I'm going to turn it over. Do the same thing on this side. Remember, it doesn't have any skin on it, but if you like the skin, you roll with the skin. Okay. What I'm going to do is get some aluminum foil and put these pieces in there. So I'll spray my pieces with a little margarine. I use quite a bit of aluminum foil, so that's why I have such a big box of it. It's cheaper since I use a lot of it for me to get it. in this size box, and I bake with it, I use it. And this is not the heavy duty aluminum foil. I'm gonna squirt a little margarine on it, so let me take my margarine out. I can't believe it's not butter. Believe it, it's not. Put it on both sides. And now, it is ready to go in the oven. Let me wash my hands. I have my oven already on 375, so I'm getting ready to put my salmon in there, and it should take only about, probably no more than 20 minutes, but I'm going to check it. I'm going to put it in and let it bake. I'll make somewhat of a tunnel over it. I won't put the aluminum foil exactly on it. So now I have my chicken in the oven, I got my salmon in the oven, and I'm gonna prepare my broccoli. This next, the rice is gonna be super fast, and I'll share with you why it's gonna be super fast. But let me put this up, because I don't need this anymore. So one of the things that I like to do is wipe my containers down. The containers that I use to season my food with, I hate to pick up a container and it got food on it, so I wipe it down. So I encourage you to wipe yours down. I was about to say, the doctor told my older sister when she had heart surgery that the best salt to use is black salt. And so it's been years ago. She's healthy, doing good, look good. And I thank God for it. So I picked up on the list they had given her, and I use it as well. Now I am getting ready to bring my broccoli over, and I got fresh broccoli. I got that from the market. So I'm going to take the broccoli, and what I'll do first is get a boiler. I'm going to start boiling my water, because the broccoli doesn't need to boil as long as collard greens. Doesn't take as long for the broccoli, no more than about 15 or 20 minutes as well. So let me get my boiler and get my water started. And I also season my water. I told you that in one of the episodes that I did when I was in MJ's kitchen before. I like to put everything in my water when I get started. Then when I take my broccoli and drop it down there, my broccoli can cook, and all of the seasoning will saturate every limb, every part of that broccoli. So let me get the water now and get started. Now I'm getting ready to prepare my broccoli, and what I mean by preparing is that I cut it off of the head, and if the spears are too long, I may shorten them or cut them in half if they're too big. So I'm just going to show you what I do. I just cut it short. I don't care for all of the stems. I already have my water boiling. Well, getting started to boil. See, this is what I'm talking about. I wouldn't put this in there, but I'll just cut it in half. And that way it will cook quicker. So I'm going to put just a little more in there. sons will eat broccoli. Bishop doesn't care for it. I believe that is enough. And this is fresh broccoli. Tastes good. Has a different taste than that frozen broccoli. Not saying anything is wrong with frozen broccoli, but this fresh broccoli tastes really good. I think I better add maybe 2 more spears in there. Just make sure it's enough. And once I cut it, and I'm getting ready to rinse my broccoli real good. So I'm taking it to the sink to rinse it. That's good enough right there. I'm going to hold it right here at the sink until I check on my water. My water is getting hot, so I'm going to sprinkle some onion powder in there. This is just to give it a taste. I'll put some salt in there. Still light salt. And I'm going to drop a little butter in there. I can't believe it's not butter. I'm going to put some actual butter in there, but I won't put much. So let me get my butter out of the refrigerator. Now I have my butter, and I'm going to put about 2 tablespoons in there. And if you look at the package, you will see that it has it labeled. You don't have to measure it out. All you have to do is get a knife and cut it. So I'm going to cut the 2 tablespoons and drop it in there. Ooh. And as soon as my water begins boiling, I'll drop my broccoli in there. The broccoli does not take long to simmer. So no more than about a good 10 minutes. But you can test your broccoli by sticking a fork in it and make sure it's at the right softness that you like. We don't care for crunchy broccoli, so I just get the crunch off of it and have some softness in it. So let me go back to my broccoli. What I'm gonna do while I'm waiting for the water, I want to start boiling, and while I'm waiting on the water to boil, guess what? I'm gonna check my chicken wings. Cooking good. They're cooked inside. I want them to brown. And they'll cook now for about 10 or 15 minutes, so we don't have long. Now, I'm getting ready to drop my broccoli flowerlets with a little spear on it, and the water's boiling, so let me drop the broccoli in my hot boiling water that's already seasoned. Use about probably 3 cups of water, and that's about all you need. Just enough. You don't want to have a pot full of water, but just enough to drop it in there, just so that the water will come up higher over. So I just let them boil. Now I'm going to go back to my counter and work with my rice. Now I'm getting ready to prepare my rice, and I indicated earlier that you won't have any problem with the rice. Now I use a regular rice, but I also use mini-made, and I didn't realize how good it is. Let me just add that most of the time when you're going out to eat at restaurants and different places, they are using this instant rice. So it's the easiest thing in the world to cook. You can get some. If you've been having problems with rice, just know that minute rice will work. So what you have to do with minute rice, you have to put 1 cup of water with 1 cup of rice. However much rice you want, you have to equal that in the amount of water. So I'm gonna do 1.5 cup of water, and I'm gonna do 1.5 cup of rice. So I'm gonna go on and put my water on. I also put butter in that. I'll season that, put some salt in it, and I'm gonna show you just how easy this rice is to cook. So let me get my water. Okay, now I put my water on the stove for my rice. It's just 1.5 cups, and I'm gonna do the same amount for the rice. So it's 1.5 cups of water. I got it started. As soon as it starts boiling, I'm gonna show you the trick to it, and I think it's great. So anyways, let me put a little salt in it. As I said, I'll season it and put a little butter in it, not a whole lot, about 2 tablespoons of butter. While I'm over here, I'm going to check my broccoli. Broccoli is cooked. What I'm going to do is cover it and let it sit on the stove, and it'll continue to tenderize, but it is at the right tenderness, and I don't want it to get soggy. So I'm turning it off and leave it here. And while I'm here, I might as well check my salmon. So let me do that as well. As you can see, the salmon is cooking. Put it back in there. Don't have long. And what I'm going to do is I'll measure the rice as soon as the water starts boiling. Let me get me some butter. Drop that in there for my rice. I like to have everything seasoned. And I season it to taste. Again, about 2 tablespoons. I'm going to get a lid for my broccoli. Cover that. Not the right lid, but I'm putting it on anyway. I don't have time to be digging, looking for it. Now my rice water is boiling, so I'm getting ready to drop my rice. I'm going to put it in here, and after the rice cooked, the broccoli is ready. We're waiting on the meat. It won't take long though. I've already checked. So anyways, it takes 10 minutes for this rice to sit. So I'm going to go on and put this in now. Again, 1.5 cups of rice is what I'm putting in. And after you put the rice in the hot water, I'll turn it out and let the rice just sit there. Just turn it off, and then the rice will continue to cook, and it'll be ready for 10 minutes. You need to cover it, so let me just put a little saucer on top of it since I didn't pull the lid out. Now we're waiting on the rice. The rice is cooking. Again, as I said, you only have to allow it to sit for about 10 minutes, so about 3 minutes have already passed. We also have the chicken. It's almost ready. Our salmon, I'm sure, is ready. I'll check it. And then the broccoli is ready, so we know that. Now, I didn't do any bread, and the reason why I did it is because I wanted to show you a healthy meal. You don't have to have bread. Most of the times when you're eating it, you really don't have to have it. You want to be real cautious about consuming so much bread, because it doesn't matter how much you lift weights or how much you walk. If you got bread in your diet, you're destroying your diet. So just remember that. Bread has carbohydrates in it too, so you want to be real careful about that. So I'll be back. Now, my chicken is ready, my salmon is ready, rice and broccoli. I want you to go with me. Let's look at this chicken. Now let's look at the salmon. Looks great. Now I added the lemon just for a special taste, and you can add that if you want to. It's up to you. But everything is cooked. I'm going to remove it from the baking dish, the cooking dish, and put it on the table, and we're getting ready to eat. We're sitting down now. Everything has been prepared. We have the broccoli, have the salmon, have baked chicken, and again, let me reiterate the fact that it's all baked. And I have rice. And again, I didn't prepare any bread because this is a healthy meal, one that wouldn't take long. So I want everybody to eat up and enjoy. I thank you once again for tuning in to MJ's Kitchen, another episode of More Than Life. It's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you, and I look forward to us moving towards other episodes. Encourage you to look at all of the previous episodes, and so you can catch up with what's going on with First Lady Mary Jackson. Thank you, and you have a good night.